He raiseth up the poor out of the dust, and lifteth up the beggar from the dunghill, to set them among princes, and to make them inherit the throne of glory. For the pillars of the earth are the Lord's, and he hath set the world upon them.
And spake Joshua to the Lord in the day when the Lord delivered up the Amorites before the children of Israel. He said in the sight of Israel, Sun, stand thou still upon Gibeon. Not sun, not earth, stop spinning. Didn't say that.
The amount of 666s are insane. 6 times 6 times 600 is the circumference of the earth. The earth is curves at 6.666 mile in feet per mile. Is that feet per mile? Yeah, feet per mile. 66,600 miles per hour is the orbit speed. 6 times 6 times 60 is the diameter of the moon. There are countless. There's so many of these things that I can't freeze frame this somebody and read through it. This isn't even all of them.
Well, folks, I'm so excited to finally have Flat Earth Dave with us today. This has been a long time coming. Many of you have been requesting this interview for a long time. As you know, I tease constantly from the scriptures over and over again how this earth that we live on, we've been lied to for our entire lifetime. We've been brainwashed. So it's so good to have you here, Dave. Man, this whole thing is growing. There's debates coming up. Your app is taking off. And I share your app with people across this entire earth. Everywhere I've been for this past few years, I continue to share it. And you had some good news for me when we do share this app, and you're going to talk to us about it today.
The good news about when you share the app, how to put your referral code in? Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah. Yes, right to the app.
No, we don't have to. We'll talk about that later. But your referral code is LT, so just forget about it right now because some people are going to go like, "Let me get this app."
I know.
The app, let me just tell you, I'm not going to talk about the app, but I'm going to talk about why I made it. And why I made it is because of censorship. You can't find anything flat earth related. Here's the thing. Let's say you were like searching for how to weave baskets underwater, and you remember watching a few videos a year or two ago. You could just go to your YouTube search history if you're on YouTube, which is where the main majority of the normies are. And you could search in underwater basket weaving, and those videos will show up. You could search in Loch Ness Monster, COVID, whatever it was you're searching, and every video that you watched on that topic will come in. Then you can go to my channel, DITRH, which stands for Deep Inside the Rabbit Hole, or Jeranism, or Globebusters, or Taboo Conspiracy, or any of these channels that have real flat earth information. You can have a whole bunch of them in your recent history and in your past history, and you'll see them there. But if you search your history for flat earth, they all disappear and propaganda videos fill in. That's the only topic that happens to.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So the app bypasses the algorithm. It gives you a daily video each day. I just tell people, take it slow. When you think this is stupid, and that's why I offer 3 Bitcoins. Universal price is over $100,000 right now in US. 3 Bitcoins for anybody that can come up with one globe proof. But before you waste my time, you have to watch the daily video each day for 2 weeks, or go to the archive and just watch the last 14 videos, whatever, 14 random videos. And then if you think you have a globe proof, first go to the frequently asked questions and make sure it's not answered there, because it probably is.
Yeah. Now, this movement you stated earlier is growing pretty fast from what you were telling me.
Oh, absolutely. It is growing faster and faster. I am booked. I can't. Every time I open my email, I have another booking. So I'm going on so many shows, and I like going outside. Going on shows inside of our circles. That's good. We all educate each other. But going on shows that have audiences that think flat Earth is stupid, that's what I want to talk to. I've been also speaking at a couple of high schools via Zoom, and the reaction is crazy. The trolls out there, they're going crazy. That I'm actually going to schools, but the reaction is great, and this is such a freeing of the mind. You know, the globe is a prison for your mind.
Correct.
And
yeah, go ahead.
Good. No, I was going to say at the end, we're going to really get into why the lie, right? Because that's what any smart person does when they say, well, boats over the horizon. You explain that away. Sunsets, eclipses, seasons. When you explain all that away, how those actually prove the flat earth, they go, well, why would they lie? And that's the best question of all. And it's the reason that flat earth, the true earth, level earth, is the most important topic of our time. It's more, and don't get me wrong, there's a lot of craziness going on in the world with child trafficking and all this other stuff, election fraud, everything, all of this. But all of it happens on a flat earth where if you are spinning out of control, lost in space, you've given away your power. You've given away your ability to manifest. You've given away your position in this realm. And when you do that, you become weaker and you're not able to live the way you're supposed to live. So flat earth is the elite's key. Hiding flat earth is the elite's key to keeping us under control. These are just the people I'm just showing you here. I'm on the East Coast here. You can't even see the land. There's so many people on this. This is the friend finder on the app, and you can network with people. And, you know, as I mentioned to you earlier, where we were talking, people have already had babies and gotten married and started businesses together, because these are all the people that love your content, that love truth. These are people that are awake and aware. This app will put you in contact with more. You have more in common with every single blue dot on there than any dating site, job site, any matching site would ever do. Everyone on there is awake and aware to the false reality that we're living in.
Yeah, that's a lot of folks. And man, I've shown over and over again my reasoning for, you know, coming on board. I've watched you for many years. I've seen how you present yourself almost every time you put out a video. I like to jump on board, especially with those that are skeptical about the whole thing. My son told me last night that you were recently on board a YouTube channel with 5 million subscribers, I believe. And I forgot his name, but I saw you in a
Tyler Olivera. Olivera. So let me tell you. Go ahead, finish, and I'll tell you about him.
No, go ahead. So he told me about him, and I was like, "Who's that?" And he showed me a clip.
So Tyler Olivera, he's got like 4.3 or 4.5 million subscribers. Excuse me, and he gets like 1 million views in one day. And he started going down. He wanted to do some conspiracy stuff, and then he heard about flat Earth. And he called Mark Sargent, and Mark's like, call David Weiss, and he said he was like, hey, I'm going to be in New York City, which is, you know, half an hour from me, 45 minutes from me. He goes, can I come like Monday? And it was Friday or whatever. And I'm like, okay. Spent 5 hours with me here, and I showed him everything. Now, we're used to hit pieces. We're used to the Logan Pauls doing hit pieces and all sorts of stuff. So I went over everything, and I said, hey, Tyler, I said, I don't care what you do, as long as you don't straw man me. And as long as you tell people where they can go get more information, which is flatearthdave.com, because Google isn't going to give you anything. I said, as long as you do that, I'm cool. Right. So he interviewed me. He came to Flattoberfest, which was our international conference in Las Vegas, which was a couple of weeks ago. And he pulled a little stunt there where he's like, well, I came here as a flat earther, but now I'm not. And I challenge anybody. Whatever. He did this whole like douchey stunt. And it was actually kind of genius, because when he put out his video, he played that at the beginning. And also all of the imagery he used of the flat earth was what I said not to use, which is the disc, you know, the flat earth disc floating in space, because everyone likes using, you know, the flat earth disc. And that is not what flat earth is. This is not what flat earth is. Right. But he did that, and the algorithm, it's like, oh, an anti-flat earth video pushed him right up to #1 for almost 24 hours. Search flat earth. Wow. There he was. But then they started realizing, wait a minute, there's too much good information in here. I had flight routes going on in there. I explaining all these things. He's like holding his head. And even though he played it like a little bit, you know, like he's really the skeptic, it was waking up a lot of people. I spent 8 hours a day for the next few days responding to his fans going, where do I get more? What about this? What about that? So it woke up a ton of people. So There you go.
Things that I noticed with Tyler Olivera, and it seemed like you guys were sitting at, like, in a living room setting, just having a great discussion to me. So
Yep.
I'm hoping more and more folks are going to be on board and really pay attention to all the live. So I was hoping you would start showing us some of that today. I know it would take hours to go through it all, but some of the big ones that you noticed that really help folks understand this whole concept of globe versus the flat Earth.
So
What would be your first go-to?
well, there's so many. It all depends on the person, but I like southern flight routes. I'm sure you've seen stuff on that. You want to start there?
Sure, that'd be great.
Yeah. So let's see what I have here. So this is. So here's a simple one. This is from California to Beirut, and it shows you, oh, this is the Great Circle Route. Now, if you notice, they're going over this island here, you're going over Greenland, and then they come all the way down. But if we look at that on a flat Earth map, going over the same pieces of land, it's a straight line. That's interesting. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah, there's a book that came out. You said that there's 16 or 17 reasons for flat Earth for emergency landings, right?
16 emergency landings that prove flat Earth. The PDF is free online. You can go to the book section on my app to find it, or just search for it, 16 Emergency Landings, for the coffee table book. I highly recommend it. It's a great book to have because anyone that picks it up, if they open it and just read one page, they become flat curious at a minimum. So, So here, I'll just show you a couple of the emergency landings. Now, this is going from New York to Hawaii, and they had an emergency right about here. They flew like 1,000 miles out of the way, maybe a little bit less. They got there in a ridiculously short period of time, and they landed in Seattle. But if you look, New York, Seattle, Hawaii, it's on the same exact line. So let's look at another one. This one, it was going from London to Pakistan, and an emergency happened. They went over to Moscow. Moscow is directly on that line. Another one went all the way, going to Doha from Chicago, and Moscow is that's probably 1,500 miles out of the way. Got there in 15 minutes.
Oh my!
And
goodness.
if you look at it, Doha, Moscow, Chicago. This happens again and again and again and again. All these emergency landings make absolutely no sense on the globe. Here's one. Here's one from New York to Fiji. No, New York to Auckland, New Zealand. Right here, they had an emergency. They flew all the way over to Fiji. Why didn't they just go here? It looks like it's about the same distance, because if you look at it, New York, Fiji, New Zealand. Here's a little zoom in so you can see. And my favorite one, which I'm sure you've seen, is this one. They were going from Hong Kong over to the UK, ended up emergency stopping 12 hours later in Germany, because 4 hours into the flight, a mother died suddenly. Weird. And her husband, her small children, they're all sitting together. She's dead in her seat, dead. No reviving. She's dead. They flew for 8 more hours. 8 more hours. Why didn't they land? You could find 12, 3 airports that it could have landed at. But if you look at the actual flight route, they were over Russia. 2 things. You land in Russia. Russia's probably very helpful.
Yep.
And that could spark peace and have that. And the other thing is, somebody might go, wait a minute, why are you over Russia? And then Flat Earther would chime in, because the Earth is flat, and then everybody would start looking. So they literally just had to fly for 8 hours all the way to Germany. And that's unexcusable. Somebody's not even feeling well, they land a plane.
Yeah. Yeah. One of the things that I do, Dave, when I've talked to folks, I just did it recently this summer in somebody's room. I always have somebody hold up a sheet in a living room. So I had all these teenagers that were around me. They were giggling and laughing. I walked in, and my daughter's there, and my sons, and they're and I said, "What are you guys laughing about?" Well, we were just telling them about your views on the Earth, and they were all laughing. They thought that was crazy. And I said, okay. So one of the things I do is I take a blanket, hold it up, and I take a ball, and I tell them, what do you see as I bring this ball towards you over the sheet? And they're like, it looks like it's rising. And I said, but I'm actually going straight towards you right now, but you think it's rising, but it's actually coming towards you. And so that was one of the big things. They were like, oh my goodness. And I said, so your eyes are deceiving you. You think that the sun is rising around a globe, but it's actually distance from you. It's going around flat and it's coming towards you and it's getting larger and it appears as if it's rising. I do that all the time. Do you have that with you where you've done that in your living room? I love that. How you done.
Yeah, I'll show that. I'll show that. We'll just show you one more of these. This is from South Africa, and it's going over to Australia, to the west side of Australia. And the three different flights, the one goes to Dubai and then down, Hong Kong and down, and Malaysia and down. That's crazy. Here's the equator. If you're flying from a southern airport to any other southern airport, anywhere on the bottom of a southern globe, you would never, ever cross the equator. Here's the funny thing. In the north, no two northern flights ever dip below the equator, no matter what their position is. If they're both in the north, the plane never goes below the equator. That would be the same on a southern to southern flight. If the Earth was a globe, you would never cross the equator, but many of them do. But we look at this on a flat Earth map, south. Here are those same routes. They're just stopping for fuel in different places. So that's why they make these crazy, crazy routes. So sunsets. Let's just talk real quick. Let me show you how the sun sets, and we'll go from then I'll show you the experiment I did. So here's perspective grid. Everything comes in from the sides and goes down, and we see to the vanishing point. This is just how we see. So this guy, here's his viewing site, his viewing line. This mountain is thousands of feet above his head. We can see that. The sun is above the mountain. Now, as the sun goes away, just following that line of perspective, it's not going down, just like you were talking about. It's beyond the mountain. It's not below, because it's just beyond it. And let me just see where is it? Not that. So if you went up higher, you'd be able to see the sun again. If the guy got a balloon and could float up, he could see the sun again. Or let's pretend there's a whole bunch of fields behind him and he moves backwards a couple miles, and the mountain would just go into the distance, fill it in, and this is what he would see. He'd have a better angle to see the sun. The sun was just beyond the mountain. This horizontal eye zone, is that at his eye level, or is that thousands of feet above his head? It is thousands of feet above his head, but he sees it at his eye level. Now, if the sun just goes away, it goes beyond that again. So now let's add the clouds. So we have the sun's up here now. You have the cloud deck. The clouds all go into this horizontal eye zone, and it becomes just a horizon, right? So the sun moves away. It goes beyond the clouds and the mountain. So this line here represents two things. One, at the top of the mountain, thousands of feet above his head. It also represents these clouds, which are thousands of feet above the mountain. The sun simply just went beyond it. It just went beyond it. Do you follow that?
Oh yeah, I'm with you 100%. I love that. And I love how you also have that experiment that you did in your living room showing that perspective too. I believe you had a video doing that, but thanks to you, I'm able to use stuff like that in other living rooms just to kind of prove it. And it does shock people. Yeah. I mean, here it is.
Yep. So here it is. So this line represents the path of the sun, and the sun is a celestial object. We're viewing it from a celestial camera, a camera that is up as high as the sun. Now, this could be mountains, could be cloud deck, atmospheric deck. It's below the sun. The sun never goes below it. Now, I have a camera on the counter on the other side watching the same thing from a terrestrial point of view. And if I showed you this first, I would say, is this line level? And you'd be like, no, it's sloping down at about a 45-degree angle. Is this the top of this thing, whatever it was, appears to be at eye level? And look, I'm zooming in. Look at this. It looks like it's almost going straight down. It's a level line. This is just going beyond the mountain, the cloud deck, right? So here it is going beyond And here is the sun doing the same thing. What's that going behind? Is that the atmospheric deck, or is that a mountain we can't see? Doesn't matter. It's going beyond it. It's going beyond it.
That is phenomenal. And you also had a video clip where you got on top of a mountain, right? And you show how it's going away from you and it disappears through the atmosphere, because a lot of folks want to know, why does the sun disappear in our eyes?
Right.
Yeah, I love that one right there.
So this is from my drone, there's different atmospheric conditions that'll make you see different things. On a warm, moist day, you have magnification, you have obfuscation because of the thickness of the air. On a cold, crisp, clear day, you can see much farther. And when you're up higher, you can see even farther because, one, you can just see farther because you're higher. You can have a better angle to things before that horizontal eye zone intersects your vision. But it's also thinner air up there. So if the Earth was spinning, the sun would just go down, 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 and it would always keep on going. But it doesn't. It went down, 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 and then it stopped. And it sat right here. Now, I know there's mountains in Pennsylvania over here that this could be. This is probably the clouds above them, but it all looked to be a horizon. The sun sat there for 10 minutes. This is super sped up. My friends at the beach over there said they saw the sun set from the bottom up 10 minutes ago. And I'm just watching this thing disappear into the thickness of the atmosphere. Light can only push so far through the air. So here it is again, just going back and forth. And I call that the sun fade out. Now the globe, the globe zealots, anti-flat earthers, they're like, CGI, you faked it. I live streamed it. I did it 7 times. And it's very hard. You have to have a super clear day. You have to have a 4K camera. You have to have a drone. You have to warm up the batteries because it has to be like freezing cold for it to get that clear day where you can actually see what's happening. And, we did it 7 times. So here is just another sunset. What do your senses tell you? Are you falling over backwards faster than the speed of sound? Or is this light, whatever it is, moving away from you? What do your common senses tell you? It's just going away. And there's mountains here that are thousands of feet above my eye line, but I'm just seeing it. It looks like it's at my horizon. It's going beyond. It's just going beyond. It's not going below. Here's another one. This one was filmed in Afghanistan. Super dry, clear, and the sun just stopped going down, and it sat there, and then it kind of just went away. It's going away, taking its light with it, getting smaller and smaller. The reason I have Paul McCartney up here is because he's singing "The Fool on the Hill." Sees the sun going down, but the eyes in his head see the world spinning round because they want you lost. Did the Beatles write that? I don't think so.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Wanting you lost. And that kind of brought up something I discussed earlier, that I like to show stuff on my show all the time. And one of the things that I show is this, and we talked about it earlier, is this Hennessey commercial, the Picards. And it made me wonder, why in the world, if I played this commercial on my show, they would take me down? Because I had 440,000 subscribers on YouTube. They kicked me off, didn't tell me why. We kind of knew why it was getting close to the election, whatever. As we got into this, I said, hey, why are these guys allowed to show a video of Picard, a scientist who took a balloon, put himself in a little capsule and shot himself up through to the firmament that turned into water? And so I wanted to show this clip real quick.
Go for it.
So there it is, 1931, Auguste Piccard became the first man to reach the stratosphere, is what they call it. Yeah. And so what happens if you show this in a high school, this commercial? Okay, a lot of money was spent on this. Show this in a high school to everyone and say, "Oh, by the way, we have water on top of us." When they keep telling us that you can go into outer space. And that's the part that blows me away is you're allowed to show this commercial. You're allowed to show something that goes completely against everything they're brainwashing us with. And what do? They sign, I call it the elite signature. Why do they have the all-seeing eye there in the middle of this commercial showing us what Piccard was able to accomplish? And he put in all of his books, you can't even find them on Amazon anymore, where he said when he went up, he looked across and said this entire earth is flat. What do you have to say for that? Oh, let me see. I think I've got you muted. 1 second. You there?
Yeah. Sorry, I muted myself. Okay. It says the world looks like a flat disk with an upturned edge. That would be Antarctica. Now, I'm not sure what he saw because you can only see so far. I don't think you'd be able to see all the way around the whole disk because we see in a circle. That's what people don't understand. They're like, I saw a curve of the earth out in the ocean. Well, no, you saw the same distance in all directions. Connect all those points. That makes a big line. It's like putting your head in the middle of a hula hoop and telling you that the edge of that hula hoop is a sphere. No, it's not. It's just the limit of your vision.
Right.
Because that's how we see. Here, this is, sorry, looks like the same footage there.
Yeah, I was just showing that when folks zoom in now on their cameras, they can see this splashing effect, which is just like you'd see on splashing on the ocean. And that would be the firmament that these missiles, I believe, are hitting the top and they're bouncing and bouncing and bouncing. They're like, hello, how many times do we have to show you the proof? It just doesn't make sense to me why folks aren't waking up to it. But then again, I find out, yes, we are. Yeah. Okay. So what do you got there?
So what I got? This is I have a couple pictures here, and this is an amateur balloon going up, and this is another one. This is a picture from NASA. Okay. Amateur, NASA.
Oh my goodness.
Right. We're up higher than we can't see those lights. But NASA, this is just from an airplane, I think. And they just curve it and they put this little green line on there. It's ridiculous. NASA can't even get their heights correct. For example, this is 127,000 feet, right? The sun is right there. Look at it. It's right there. And there's a hot spot on the clouds. Like, how could that be 93 million miles away and light unevenly like that? It makes no sense whatsoever. I was going to show you the SpaceX. Elon put up his car in space. Remember that?
Oh yeah,
I remember when Elon put up his Tesla, and they let me show you. Let me get another one here. Hold on. I think this is the one. So this is interesting because why they're hypnotizing you with the space band music and everything. They show the Earth, and what we see is, let's go forward. We see the whole Earth, the whole ball Earth. Now the space station can barely see curve, can barely see the curve, and their space station's 250 miles up. This was only 170 miles up. How can they see the full Earth and the space station can barely see a curve? And every time the space station shows you the curve of the Earth, it's different. It's nearly flat. It's way curved. It makes no sense whatsoever. I think I have where is it? I had another image. I don't have it.
That's amazing, all the research that you've done and all the different parts that you've been able to show us. Another big one for me, when I was out by the ocean, I noticed miles and miles away, I could actually see ships on a clear day, and I was explaining to my family and showing them the math and said, guys, that's impossible. We should not be able to see that from here based off of the curve model that they keep throwing at us.
Let me show you something on that. But why I got this up, I remembered I had this. This is a guy on a tower. So just watch this and tell me how you feel. I mean, do you get that? You know what? Actually, I got a better one. This is crazy. Oh yeah, so look at this. Do you get that funny feeling in your stomach when you're watching something like this?
Oh, that's crazy.
It's crazy, right? You've seen these videos, but like people just Google it. Google like people
Yep.
on high places, whatever, and your stomach is freaking out. And
Yep.
these people. So this is your inner self seeing something, and your stomach is literally churning. Right? Watch it. Watch this guy here. Watch this guy flipping around. Right. These guys are nuts, by the way. Don't anyone ever try this. Nuts.
Yeah,
So
he is.
yeah. So what is your body's telling you like has a self-preservation mechanism. So you watch it, like I can't even watch it. Like pull it up, put on a big screen and you can't even watch it. But now let's look at something that NASA shows us. NASA shows us this. This is a guy just hanging out over the earth, traveling 17,000 miles an hour. Your stomach doesn't do anything. You don't have any reaction to this because your mind, your subconscious knows this is fake. I mean, this is a hell of a height. You don't feel anything.
Yeah, I never thought about that.
Yeah, when if you watch these things, like you don't get any reaction to this because this is just a green screen. These guys are in a pool.
Right. Yep, they're
Yeah.
in a pool,
So
and I love how many mistakes they make when they're inside of their little capsule. They're connected to these rods, and they keep dropping things or forgetting that the water's sitting on the table and it's not floating, and just
right.
one
We
after
go.
another.
So out here, there's some boats that are literally they're too small to see, so you can't see them. But as we zoom in, we're increasing the angular size. So as we increase the angular size, all of a sudden you can see, oh, there are boats out here. They're not over a curve, but this is a day with wide amplitude swells. And so look at this boat. You can see the water way beyond it. Look at this boat. Is he over the curve of the earth or is he behind a swell? He's clearly behind a swell. And you can, at times, you can see the water way beyond these boats. And these boats should be hidden behind a curve at the distance that they're at. But we're just seeing them popping up and down behind the swell. So this is an artificial horizon, a false horizon. This boat isn't going behind the earth. It's going behind a swell. And you saw how it can bring clouds and mountaintops right down to your eye level. It does the same with the ground. It brings everything to your eye level. That's how we see. That's how we see. So here's just another shot. So we have these boats way out here. And if we zoom, where are we going with this one? If we zoom out, hold on, where's this one going? When you zoom out, it literally, you can't see it anymore. Now, a globe would say, oh, it's over the curve. But how would you bring it back if it was over a curve? How would you bring it back? And here's another thing. We have these mirages, they tell us. So you're looking out here. Well, this is the edge of the earth if you're a glober. And this boat is refracting up from behind the curve, they would tell us, and floating in the air. But in reality, this boat is sitting on the water. This water is smooth. This water is rippled. And if I bring in the rest of the background, because I took out the back, you can see that it's just on calm water. There's rippled water here. This happens all the time. And they say, oh, it's a mirage, right? This boat's floating. No, it's not. It's just sitting on the water. It's just sitting.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
Huh.
This is one that where is it? I lost my my mirage picture. I lost. Wow, not showing up. So check this out. Here's a mountain. Here's a boat. Another boat. We zoom out. Not only is the boat going to disappear, the mountain's going to disappear. Understand how perspective works. Your eyes can't see infinitely far. And even a zoom, you can't see infinitely far because the atmosphere becomes opaque over distance, and then you can't see. You can't see through it. As I was showing you with the sun fade out.
Man, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Great footage.
Yeah.
Over and over again, there's more and more proof. Folks can actually go out there on their own,
right?
Zoom out, zoom in, and they can see this.
That's what got me. I went out and bought a camera, and I'm zooming in, zooming in, zooming in. There's no boat, no boat. Oh, look, there's a boat right there. Now, these little waves in the foreground. So if my finger was a wave right next to this boat, it can't really hide much of the boat. But if my finger was in the foreground as a wave, it could hide the whole boat, if I can get it there, right? So these little waves in the foreground will hide the smaller boat in the background because the boat's getting smaller and smaller. Well, that wave is going to be proportionally be bigger than the boat. You have your false horizon. You have the angular resolution limits of your eyes.
Right.
And then there's infrared. When we go with infrared, we can see farther, and we can see these mountains that are ridiculous distances. But if you turn off the infrared, you can't see anything. You just see a blue sky. Here's on, I was telling you, up high, you can see nice and far. Cool day, clear, and we can see these mountains. And there's 8 of them, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 7. 7 mountaintops, all in the right positions. They're not mirages. They're not clouds. They're over 700 miles away. Using the Earth curve calculator, calculating for the viewer height, the tops of these mountains should be over 40 miles below a physical curve. 40 miles.
Yeah, okay? That kind of reminds me of whenever I go towards a lot of the Bible stuff too to show proof from biblical messages, and there's hundreds of verses supporting the flat Earth. And when you bring that up right there, showing that picture, it reminds me of Matthew 4:8, where it says the devil takes Jesus up into an exceeding high mountain and showed him all the kingdoms of the world and the glory of them. How can he show them all the glory of them, the entire world, if you're on a ball? So anyway, throwing that in there.
Yeah. Yeah, no, absolutely. And we got to talk about the big debate that's coming up in Tennessee on December 2nd in a moment. Here's a lake. So large bodies of water at rest lie flat. Water will freeze when it's at rest and it's freezing outside. So here's a canal, a lake, whatever it is. And we had our guy go out there on the frozen ice, put his camera just 6 inches off the ice. And then he put lasers out there, lights 1 foot off the ice. He's got a red light, and the red light's 8 miles away. This one's 7, 6, and 5. At that distance, now I'm rounding down for every possible, a refraction. Well, there's no refraction. It's freezing cold out there. With everything. And I went with the lowest possible number. And even Globers won't argue that these numbers are inflated because they're not. This should be more like 44 feet. But there should be 30 feet of curvature. That's a 3-story building. 22, 15, and 9. Not only is there nothing blocking them, but they're all appear on a level plane like the ice is level or something. Weird, right?
Yep,
you're muted if you're talking.
Amazing. Yeah, when I talk, I have to bring myself back in. Anyway.
Yeah. So again,
laser experiments, they're amazing.
Yeah, and the thing is, and there's people say, well, the laser, baloney. This stuff isn't refracting, because if it was refracting, everything would have to refract a different amount to magically stop at your eye level.
That's right.
Even the ice in front of this would have to refract up to get to your, because everything is dropping. It's 8 inches per mile squared. It's the Pythagorean theorem. It's literally gives the globe the benefit of the doubt because the real curvature calculator gets worse. So whenever we use curvature calculators, we use the one that gives the globe the benefit of the doubt because we don't need it. There's no curvature. There's no motion.
That's right.
There's nothing. There's absolutely nothing.
Yep. Go ahead. Now, another thing I think of when you're talking about curves is that that I bring up to folks all the time are the numbers that were used. So I get into the more on the conspiracy too of NASA, how they were put together, who started it. That guy who was Warner von Braun was buried, he used a Bible verse, actually letting people know that we live on a flat Earth, basically with that verse, and then going into the whole thing with how they lied to us. NASA, and actually meaning the word actually means deception and more. So you've got the founders of NASA up there, but they use codes that match the 666 mark of the beast. So I say, hey, did you know that the opposite angle of the Earth that they give us is 666? Somehow there's an angle in space. Weird, huh? And then 66,600 miles an hour, it's going through space. Why do they keep using 666? To me, it's always their signature that they add in their obedience to Satan. That's just the way I look at it.
The National Aeronautics and Space Administration added up 666. The amount of 666s are insane. 6 times 6 times 600 is the circumference of the Earth. The Earth is curves at 6.666 mile in feet per mile. Is that feet per mile? Yeah, feet per mile. 66,600 miles per hour is the orbit speed. 6 times 6 times 60 is the diameter of the moon. There are countless. There's so many of these things that I can't freeze frame somebody and read through it. This isn't even all of them. How they actually figured that out is kind of amazing. Might be the way that this realm works, where these numbers work out. I don't know, but it's very satanic. The globe is a satanic model. Why is it satanic? Because it hides the creator. It literally hides creation. It doesn't let you know. LT, I was I guess a full-on atheist. It's horrifying to even say that now. Until I discovered that the Earth is intelligently designed, that we are at the center of creation. Yep. And when I discovered that, everything changed in my life, and it's actually amazing. So they know that a society that knows the creator is uncontrollable. They can't control them because they want to take us away from God, from creation, from nature, whatever you want to label you want to put on it, and put us in their false reality.
That's right. And that's why I pulled up a lot of verses that I hold to when I talk to folks and try to memorize these. So when we have conversations, just as a basis for that alone with a lot of Christians, because they want the proof from biblical stance, especially on my channel. And you just throw these verses out right here. The earth and all the inhabitants thereof are dissolved. They bear up the pillars on it. So we're on pillars. When he prepared the heavens, I was there. He set a compass upon the face of the depth. Well, there you are with your flat earth model that you have for your app. It's a compass, basically. It's like a clock. Another one, he stretches out the north over the empty place and hangeth the earth upon nothing. Fear before him all the earth, the world also shall be stable, that it be not moved. That's First Chronicles 16:30. So the earth does not move. And another thing that happens to me, I happened to be in a restaurant. I was with Trey Smith in Nashville, Tennessee last summer, and a guy came up and started filming us. And I said, what are you doing? I don't understand why you're filming without permission. And he goes, oh, I hear you guys are talking about the earth. And those guys are crazy. They're going to find out, blah, blah. And I said, excuse me. I paused and I said, I didn't ask you for your opinion on what we're talking about. That's rude. Number one. And number two, I'm going to ask you a question since you brought that up. Do you read the Bible? And he says, well, of course I read the Bible. I read, And I said, so you're claiming that you're a Christian? Yes, I am a Christian. He got a little upset. And I said, well, can you answer a question for me? And hang in with me, Dave, on this one, because I just need to get it out. I said, can you answer a question for me? Has have you ever seen in the Bible where time stops? And he says, oh, yeah. Yeah, there was a battle, and then God stopped, time, and then, and I said, how did he stop it? Did he say he stopped the earth from spinning? No, it says specifically, he stopped the sun. What does that mean? It stopped moving. Therefore, it's moving. Therefore, if you want to go there with me on Bible and go through all the details on the sun's movement and that it stopped for that particular time in the Bible, we can. And then he got real quiet and he got up and left because he realized there was nothing he could do. I mean, you're talking about debating folks. You can debate folks. You can show them scripture, and after a while, they can't come back at you. That's just using the Bible alone. You've got all the science and the Bible combined, and it's amazing.
Yeah, and I've told this story recently, but I'm going to tell it here. When in my early life, I was looking at different religions, and I was looking at Christianity and the Bible, and I went to a little kids Bible study thing, and they read the verse where they said the stars fell to the earth, and I'm like, okay, this is pure fiction because a star would eat the earth, right? A star is as big as my house, and the earth is a pebble. And
yep.
and so that verse alone, with the heliocentric indoctrination that I had, scared me away until 2014. My entire life, I refused to even look at the Bible because of that verse.
Wow.
And that's what this is all about. This is all about making people laugh at flat Earth. So you Google flat Earth, you end up at the Flat Earth Society. That's not us.
Yep.
That's the government.
Yep. Google's hiding it
Absolutely
all.
Absolutely.
And I want to throw that verse at you, saying real quick. Then spake Joshua to the Lord in the day when the Lord delivered up the Amorites before the children of Israel. He said in the sight of Israel, Sun, stand thou still upon Gibeon. Not sun, not earth, stop spinning. Didn't say that. And thou moon in the valley of Ajalon. In other words, the sun and the moon he put to a stop. Why? Because they're the ones that are moving. And the sun stood still. In other words, it stopped moving, and the moon stayed. What does that mean? It stopped moving until the people had avenged themselves upon their enemies. Is this not written in the book of Jasher? So the sun stood still in the midst of the heaven and hasted not to go down about a whole day. Isn't that amazing? It's right there in front of us.
It's absolutely amazing. And if we get into gravity and the three body problem, which they can't even model three gravitational bodies working together, no supercomputer can figure out what they're going to do next. But somehow we have quadrillions and zillions of bodies, and the stars and everything just is in perfect order. Our sky clock, right? The sun is the hour hand. The stars keep track of the seasons and the years, and the moon keeps track of the weeks and the months. And it is more accurate than the finest Swiss watch, right? Watch. And why is that? Because everything is calibrated to the sky clock. That's what time is. So it doesn't work in a heliocentric model. It only works in a precise, intelligently designed system. There's a new movie out. It's you can get it at the mechanicalrealm.com, and it's about the Antikythera mechanism that was discovered and kind of hidden off of Greece. And basically, it was a 2,000-year-old, highly precision geared device that shows you the movement of the planets and the eclipses and the sun and the phases of the moon, everything precisely. And it's over 2,000 years old. We couldn't make that thing today. They did a bunch of X-rays and MRIs on it and rebuilt it. And it's amazing. The mechanicalrealm.com if you want to check it out. So if you ever hear a glober go, where's your working model? There's our working model. Check that out. So on the app, by the way, if you hit the web button, this is the more resources page, Biblical Flat Earth. If you're a Bible lover or a Bible hater, you need to watch all of these videos. They'll blow your mind. There's over 200 verses in the Bible. And the one that the people will jump on, what about Isaiah? It says the circle of the earth. Look up the definition of a circle. It says a circle is a line on a plane, that's a flat surface, where every point on that line is equidistant from a center point. That's a circle, not a sphere. And
Great.
yeah, so when you go into that, speaking of Bible verses, real quick, we have mega church, global ministries. Greg Locke had a meltdown because too many of his patricianers, is that the right word, patricianers, were trying to talk to him about flat earth. So he had a total meltdown, and he challenged Pastor Dean Odell to a debate in Tennessee. It's at his mega church. He has 3,000 seating capacity, and he streams to, I think, 8 million people on Facebook alone. And we're going there. I'm going. Austin Whitsett's going, and we are going to teach him about what the Bible really says. He says he only wants to use the Bible. Fine. We're going to bring the Bible and science, because I'm sure he's going to bring up some science. And either he's going to humble himself or not, but either way, it's going to wake up a ton of people. So that's coming up December 2nd, and it's open. Anyone can go. There's no tickets. You just show up and go in. It's in, if you go to DeanOdle.org, all the information is right there. Click on the banner for the debate. All the information is right there. And I'm going to be going, I'm going to have a meetup the day of right near, I'm going to find a place right near, and any flat earthers in the area, we're going to just kind of hang out and have a cool meetup, and then go to the debate and watch history be made.
Yeah, I just pulled up Dean Odle Ministries. There it is, the Great Biblical Creation Debate, Saturday, December 2nd, 2023 at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. And I noticed that Greg Locke was getting pretty upset and heated, and even called out his son while he was on the stage, and just basically letting everybody know that it was a bunch of hogwash the way I translate the way he talks. Anyway, it goes back to where I was showing earlier, and you'd shared this before. There it is in Isaiah 40:22. It is he that sitteth upon the circle of the earth. If you look at the literal translation from English, circles, that actual translation is a flat circle. And so people say, oh, that means it's a ball. No, there's only one reference to the ball in the Bible, and you can look that up. It has nothing to do with the shape of the earth. And it says, in the inhabitants thereof, and this is what I love, are like grasshoppers. It stretches out the heavens as a curtain, and spreadeth them out as a tent to dwell in. Now, any tent that I've ever been in, the tent is covered with basically a surface over a flat. I'm actually sitting on a flat surface with the tent over me to keep the rain from hitting me and all of the heat. So anyway, there again, God continually putting out through simple terms that we live on a flat earth, protected by him. It's amazing.
Right. And a PSYOP inside of a PSYOP inside of a PSYOP is what we know as Project Paperclip. Project Paperclip brought the Nazi rocket scientists over. Guess what? There was no space race, so that's a PSYOP. So Project Paperclip is a PSYOP inside of a PSYOP, but that's the story that we're told. And Werner von Braun, the Nazi head rocket scientist, or in on the scam, he is the one that started NASA. His gravestone says is his date, and Psalms 19:1, the heavens declare the glory of God, and the firmament showeth his handiwork. So that's interesting. And is that revelation of the method? What is it? Why are they doing that? Was he whistleblowing? I really couldn't answer it. But I forgot to say earlier, when we're talking about NASA and the waters above and Picard, I actually had an ex-NASA high-level employee reach out to me and was communicating with me via email, and said he was in the middle of fleeing the country. And he said, I have a long email exchange with him, many, many emails. And we said we can ask questions. So we asked what the ISS is. He explained how they fake it. They have 5 B-2 bombers that are modified with transparent wing parts. He explained the whole thing. LED lights on the bottom, and that's what we're seeing when it flies over. And but he said that about 72 miles up, the sky becomes plasma, and then it becomes water, and then it becomes solid. And he says, we have at NASA the ability to go up there and explore and investigate, but we're not allowed to.
Wow. Yeah.
We're forbidden. We're forbidden. And he wouldn't tell me who forbid NASA from doing that.
Yeah, and amazing you bring that up, and there it is, another biblical reference to that. Job 37:18. Hast thou with him spread out the sky, which is strong, and as a molten looking glass? Why would God tell us that it's a strong, molten looking glass? And we just continue to show the scientific proof that backs up the biblical proof.
Yeah, 100%. And so, you know about the Go Fast rocket? When you watch any NASA SpaceX launch, edit, 7 edits before it even clears the tower. This thing went up, no edits. It went up, and then all of a sudden, and I don't have any sound on this, but when you hear it, it went kerplunk, like it went into, like if it hit water at that speed, it would have just broken into pieces, but it hit a thicker medium, right? That was interesting. It floated. Right, they had some damage control with why it stopped spinning, and it's a completely ridiculous thing. But when it turned on its side, we could see the moon. Also, we see pretty flat horizon, but we saw the moon. So we did a little investigating. We said, where was the moon? Well, this was done in Arizona at 11 a.m. So here's 12 o'clock, and the moon was over Australia. So if the Earth was a basketball, they were a fraction of a millimeter above that basketball, a fraction of a millimeter above the basketball, and the moon was below the basketball. How could you see the moon?
Oh, my
How could you see the moon?
Yeah, it's impossible. On a globe.
Right. And everybody was talking about, it was going up, spinning really fast, and all of a sudden it went kerplunk, and it stopped spinning and started floating. And we're like, why did it stop spinning? What was that noise? And they're like, well, the noise was the stage, the second stage coming off. I doubt it. He goes, but they said it stopped spinning because they had a yo-yo spin anti-spin mechanism. Now, this came out like weeks or a couple of months after videos were going really viral on this. Like, how come we're not getting an answer? How come we're not getting an answer? And then like, oh, MIT showed us, and they showed us this thing where it's spinning, and then it throws out some weights, and the weights stop it from spinning, and then it releases. Like, why would they even have that? They're trying. Why would you even have that on something that's going up? I mean, it's extra weight. And where was it? That's all they did. They show us this 12-second video, and then and people are like, yep, there you go. There's your answer. Nope. This is called damage control. This is damage control.
I didn't know that they did that. I had no idea that they put something like that. So the folks that put that video out are the same ones that fired the rocket. Is that what you're saying?
No, this came from like MIT or from somewhere, from some people that were, defending what's going on. They got caught with their pants down when that Go Fast rocket hit the beginning of the firmament, if you will. Yep. And it's interesting, with like, how could water stay up there? I think that it's held up there with pressure and electrostatics. Like, think about this. Air, they tell us that the air sticks to the earth because of gravity, but clouds of moisture weigh a lot more than air, and they float in the air. So there goes gravity. Like, what's going on there? I think that the firmament has its own charge to it, and everything sticks to it. The water too, and the air, everything's held up with pressure. What happens when you lower the pressure? Like you got like a hurricane, it brings in the water. Like you've been in a hurricane, yeah, in a major tropical storm.
Oh yeah.
Where is all that water coming from? Is it floating in the air? I mean, I've been flown through clouds in an airplane. The windows are barely getting wet. Now, yeah. I think when there's a massive low pressure system, it's letting in the waters from above. That's just me. I don't know.
Yep.
I'm just a crazy flat earther.
I've got the sound if you want to hear it real quick.
Yeah, go for it.
Let me see. Did you hear that?
Yep.
That was the sound.
Sounds like water to me.
Yep. I mean, they're spinning like crazy, and then boom. And then it starts floating over. Man, that is just phenomenal. I love that. I remember when it came out, and this is way back before a lot of folks were trying to get on board to what's happening with politics and the world, Illuminati, deep state, all that stuff. This was out before all that. And man, did it wake some people up. Anyway, I just want to make sure that everybody heard that sound before we go on. There we go.
Cool. Where do you want to go next? There's so many places we can talk about gravity. We make fun of NASA for a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, no. Let's definitely go to gravity. I'd like you to cover that one because that's what they teach us in our all the children from birth. That this apple fell in some guy's head and off they go.
Yeah, and they've changed gravity since then. So here we got. This is not the scale. So we have planets. We have the asteroid belt. More planets. More asteroids. And this is spread out. Have you ever looked at a to scale model? Some guys made it in the desert where they had a sun which was like, I don't know, 30 feet around, and then like the Earth was literally a tennis ball, like a half a mile or a mile away. It's just like a tiny little thing, and then you have planets that are way out there. Now they tell us the sun is made from helium and hydrogen, which defy gravity here, and gases fill the available space violently, but in space they collapse upon each other and create nuclear furnaces that never burn out. Weird. Just kind of weird stuff. So you got the gravity holding on to Mercury and Venus and Earth and Saturn and Jupiter and all the planets, holding all of them out, but it ignores the moons, right? It ignores the moons. So during a solar eclipse, they tell us that it's the moon getting in between us and the sun. So and I don't believe that's the case, but we're on the Earth. We're looking at the sun. Here's the eclipse. So this is the moon. The moon is in between us and the sun. Okay. So how come the sun ignores the moon, holds on to the Earth, holds on to Pluto, holds on to all the other planets, but ignores our moon? Does that make any sense?
No, not at all.
None at all. And they want to tell us that we're crazy because we think down is down, right? We think down is down, and we don't think down is this crazy configuration on a spinning ball, orbiting and whirling and twirling. We think down is down. We think the Earth is stationary, just like every sense tells us. We think down is down because of buoyancy and density. Now, there is a little bit of an argument inside the flat Earth community on what is the reason that things go down. And the simple answer is because they're more dense than the air around it. But I don't buy that, because if I have this ball and I drop it, it goes down. But what if I snap my fingers and the entire Earth disappeared? If I dropped it, why does it go that way or that way or that way? Right? What would determine down? Right? That makes sense. That makes sense?
Right. That makes sense.
Yeah. So there is an electrostatic flow of energy that is testable, measurable from the air. I encourage anyone, if you have a drone, go buy a spool of really thin thread-like copper wire, attach it to the drone, let it go up, and when that wire is no longer touching the ground, I dare you to touch it. It's filled with electricity. And because there's this flow of electricity. Now, the ground has a neutral or negative charge to it, and everything in the air is positively charged. Positive and negatives attract each other, and positive and negatives attract each other, and the Earth isn't moving. That's what I was trying to say. Earth isn't moving. So let me show you this. Here's a balloon. Now, this balloon is hanging down. No, there's no air in it. Very little air. It's not blown up. Right. It's hanging down because allegedly gravity. So gravity is not really stretching the rubber. It's just kind of hanging there. If I turned up the gravity dial so it's 10 times, you think the balloon would go like that? It would be pulled by gravity a little bit, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
10 times, 10 times, it would stretch it. So gravity is not even strong enough to stretch this rubber. But if I fill it with air, the air is trying to escape in every direction, including up.
Okay.
So the air is stronger than gravity. The force of the air to fill the available space, to equalize in pressure, is stronger than gravity. They tell us that gravity holds the air down. If I had a lucite box and I sucked all the air out of it, so it's a vacuum chamber, and I had a valve on the bottom of it, I could open that at 10,000 feet, at 2 feet, wherever I open it, the air will violently fill it. And now down here, close to the ground, the gravity's stronger. So if I did it down here, if gravity was holding the air down, why would the air go up and fill that instantaneously? That's something you could actually test. So there goes the whole gravity thing. I can drink through a straw. The weak vacuum of my mouth and lungs can pull water and air up and away from the earth. Why isn't gravity holding it down? I think the vacuum of space is stronger than my lungs as far as a vacuum goes, as far as a difference in pressure. So what's an experiment that we can do? And those of you that see me, you know this, but this is worth showing to everybody. Here's some helium balloons, and we have a little button here, and it's just a couple inches off the floor. Now that wire goes to a Van de Graaff generator, and we can actually change the charge of this button. So we're going to crank it up and add a positive charge. Did it get heavier? Did we change its mass, or we just changed its electric potential? So it is, and then we discharge it. It goes right back up. So are we manipulating gravity or the electrostatic charge? If you believe in the periodic table, every element that's heavier than the one before it has one more positive charge to it. So the more positive charge it has, the more it's attracted to the Earth. And then buoyancy and density sort everything else out. Now I'm going to tell you something about the electrostatic charge versus the gravitational charge. So what's the opposite we can do? What's that?
This is good.
Yeah. So here is we're adding a negative charge to this. So if we add it and keep it, it stays up. Are we defying gravity? Or are we defying electrostatics? We're defying electrostatics. We're defying, propulsion, like electrostatic propulsion, the stuff that's being hidden from us. They don't want us to know about it. So we add a negative charge, it goes up. Interesting. And here is from MIT. They made the silent drone. They said it flies on ionic wind. There's no moving parts. They're just changing the electrostatic charge of this continually, and it flies. Makes no noise. No moving parts. Are we defying gravity, or are we defying electrostatics? And here's a guy in Russia that he did the same thing with this device, and it floats in the air, and it's just using electrostatics. Now, if you look at, people say, what about the secret space program? I call it the secret propulsion program. They are using advanced energy, free energy probably, devices that can move electrostatically through the air. God forbid we had free energy.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Because then, people say, what difference does it make, Dave? I still have to go to work on Monday. What if you didn't have to pay for heat, electricity, or fuel for your car? What if you had something the size of a roll of quarters that would power them for your life? That would free you up a little bit. Maybe you could do a little gardening and feed yourself, right? Maybe you can do some other things. But they have us in this false system, false money, people don't even know where food comes from. They think it comes from the grocery store. Right?
Oh, that's right.
People don't understand. If you have a garden, 15 feet by 20 feet, you can feed your whole neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of. Can I show you this real quick? This top secret nuclear powered flying triangle, the TR-3B. Folks have seen this.
Yeah.
It's got those three little light things there, and I sit down with my children. This is just me. I'm not a scientist, okay, but this is what I do with my teenagers. And when I talk to them, I take the battery and put the positive and negative. Say try to put it together, and they say, oh, they won't. They keep there's power there, and I'm like, imagine taking the Earth with the negative force or positive force and taking something from the opposite and making a giant battery per se, and you make it like a disc shape, and you can actually have it float. And I said, I think they might have one. And I show them a picture of this and say, guys, they already have it. So anyway, just want to throw that in there.
Yeah, amazing. So I was talking about the 3-body problem before. You got three bodies. They're the same size. That's weird because we don't have anything that's the same size. And if you put them in motion, their gravity will create. They'll just go into random mode, and no computer can figure out what they're going to do next. So they somehow can calculate. Go out tonight, take a picture of the stars. They're going to be in the exact same place next year, same night, same time, in 10 years, same night, same time. Go out and take up another picture, and none of the stars move. None of the stars. So that is impossible in a heliocentric world. So let me just pull up something a second. Here we go. Actual traveling stars. Here we go. So here is just an animation of what they want you to think stars look like. Right now, notice these stars are crossing each other. See how they're crossing each other's paths? Parallax. As you move, things change. We're traveling 4.5 billion miles a year, never to return to where we were before. They tell us 80% of the 100 billion stars in our galaxy are binary, which means they're orbiting around each other while they're spinning in the spiral arm of the galaxy, while the galaxy is flying sideways. Okay? And never once has anyone seen any two stars cross each other's path, ever.
That's exactly
Yes, they move across the sky, right? All of your senses tell you that we're not moving and the sky is turning, but they tell us, no, we are spinning and the sky is still. Every common sense that you have, they tell you the opposite. Something in the Bible about that. Everything will be reverse of the truth.
Yep, that's right. Everything's going to be revealed. And I had actual footage, folks zoomed in on stars, and you can see basically when you look at them, it appears as if they're in water. There's just light shining through water. So if you take light, refract it or reflect it from a pool, and you can actually make this actually happen. More and more you see that they're just right there in the firmament. They've been set in the firmament because God told us that when he created the light for the day, the light for the night, and the stars, he placed them in the firmament. I'm sure you have something on that.
Right here is this a star, or is this a reflection off of a bowl of water? It's literally a reflection off a bowl of water. But when we actually look at a real star, it's a reflection coming off of that bowl of water. And it looks very similar to this. That is the star Sirius. And now our consumer optics have outgrown their lies. We can zoom in and see stuff. You can see Arcturus with your naked eye, and it does this. Does that look like a burning ball of gas? 100 billion, trillion, quadrillion miles away. The distances they tell us to these stars are so stupid, LT. It's unbelievable. The closest star to our solar system is 25 trillion miles away. 25 trillion. That's the closest, and the other ones are magnitudes farther. If you were traveling at a mile per second, which no one has ever gone, and you and I got in a spaceship, and we traveled for 1 trillion seconds, we're only 1/25th of the way there. You know how long 1 trillion seconds is, don't you?
No.
You're going to be tired of my dad jokes, I'll tell you that. Okay?
No.
Take a guess how long 1 trillion seconds is.
I have no idea.
If you guess it within 1 month, I'll give you a Bitcoin.
Oh my goodness.
Come on. Guess it. Just take a guess. Stab in the dark.
1 trillion seconds.
Yeah. Stab in the dark. No calculating. Come
on. Probably 500,000 years.
31,000 years. Well, that's a big guess. You're the first one that guessed more than the actual distance. But think about that. Wait, 1 trillion seconds is 31,000 years. Honestly, I don't think the Earth has been here that long. 31,000 years. It's 25 trillion miles away. If we were going 100,000 miles an hour, it's just you can't even fathom. It would only take us 28,000 years to get there. Why are we giving money and resources to projects that are out of our reach in a million lifetimes?
Yeah.
It's the dumbest dumbest stuff ever.
That's right.
Right? And they tell us gases. This is the nebula. They showed us in school, right? This is where stars are born. Gas and dust in space. Wait, how do you have gas in a vacuum? Gas immediately fills the available space, equalizes. Open a can, soda can, equalizes immediately. Except in space, gas collapses and creates stars. They say our sun, a tiny little star sun,
Yep.
I think it burns. It's a ridiculous number. It's like 600 million tons a day or an hour or something. It's just so stupid.
Yep.
And it's been burning for billions of years, and the gravity of it hasn't changed.
Mm-hmm.
Like, wait a minute. Yep. If all of this gas became the sun, how come it's not burning out? And the last time I took a match to some friggin' hydrogen, it exploded. All right.
That's right. That's right.
Why is it burning and not changing its gravity? Ever. Mm-hmm. Nothing ever changes. Right.
Yep.
And talk about this. They tell us that gravity, this is them telling us the truth. They say gravity is a weak force. That gravity is very weak. Right. It just sets the up and down. Interesting. Well, gravity is just a made up theory. It's a made up, it's just a made up bunch of nonsense. So they also tell us that the electrostatic force is 10 to the 26th power, 10 with 26 zeros, stronger than gravity, which they tell us is a weak force.
Right.
Now, remember how big a trillion was? That's 10 to the 12th power is a trillion. Add one more zero, that's 10 to the 13th. You got to go all the way up to 26. And each time you add a zero, it's exponentially large. You can't fathom what this number is, right? So what does that mean? Well, if the electrostatic force is 10 to the 26th power stronger than gravity, that means gravity is not real. Because if I had a 100-pound steel plate and it was only gravity that was going to suck it to the earth, I could let it go and it would stay there for 1,000 years because there's nothing pulling it down. The force of gravity is so minuscule because we can measure the electrostatic force, and they're telling us it's 10 to the 26th power less powerful than the weak electrostatic force. Give me a break.
That's right. That's right. And it's also on a note that you brought up that I put in my video yesterday, actually for news, was the fact that the mainstream media, we know that the enemy of the people, they're starting to put out this word that the sun might just put out some bursts on the earth to stop the internet from working and electricity.
Oh yeah.
Maybe we just can, so folks, it's coming. And I laugh because I always go back to the Bible, and I showed people, I'm like, look, he didn't say he created this big bursting, burning thing floating through the sky and put it in the firmament. It said he put a light for the day and a light for the night. And I said, folks, have you ever seen a light bulb? It's just a light. And I've seen people that use filters now, and you look at the sun, it looks like a literal light bulb. It's not this burning thing that they told us that's shooting off all of this fire coming out of it. And it's, causing all kinds of problems on the earth. So anyway, a bunch of hogwash for me. And the other thing that I wanted to show you was, like, I think you're showing the moon, was this thing that's been coming up lately where the moon seems to be some type of plasma, and it's like X-ray of the earth. And as you change it, it looks like it's X-raying the actual earth itself, where you can see all of our countries like a reflection onto the moon. But then they're showing us the parts that we know of. But then what's all this land out here if this is actually a true reflection or X-ray of the actual earth itself? Anyway, I thought we'd get into that one if we had time, but just wanted to show that one real quick.
Yeah, so this is the Prague clock, the oldest clock in the world. And basically, they actually just changed it. They changed the inner from a flat Earth map to a globe. But it takes a great year to go all the way around. So this is representing what they're trying to show you in the moon, what they call the moon map, right? So here's where we live. This is the moon, and this is our North Pole. And our North Pole travels around here every 26,000 years. So if the sun circles the north, circles around, it would in 13,000 years, this is where our pond would be, and this would be frozen. Interesting. It's definitely something to look into. It's mind-blowing, and the prog clock is a standing testimony that this could very well be the case.
Yeah, amazing. So you've created an app for everyone as we get to a close. Could you show us a little bit about how that app works? And also just want to make sure you guys knew, we put it in the video. You can use code LT on Dave's Flat Earth Map app. You can go to the App Store. He'll show you how to install it and everything. But wanted to make sure you guys know you can use that code. And what do they get with that code?
They get nothing other than credit to you. You get credit for bringing them over, and it's kind of fun. There's a leaderboard on there.
Good, awesome.
But yeah, it's fun. And here's the thing, LT. When you wake somebody up to flat Earth, because it's a scary thing to do, because I've lost like friends and family, but now they're all starting to come back. And when you wake somebody up to it, it brings them closer to the creator. So that's a good thing, right? We could agree on that. It's a good thing. You wake someone up to flat Earth, they start seeing reality. They start, all flat earthers are amazing people. So the day when you're at the pearly gates and they're looking over your chart going, well, you've got this list of things that aren't so good. Oh, wait, you have 50 referrals. And it could outweigh and help you get through those gates. I'm just saying, I can't prove it. It's a possibility. Just throwing it out there.
Come on. Oh, man.
So I'll give you a quick run through on the app. There's too much to go through. It's an amazing app. Every day there's a daily video. While you're having your coffee or whatever, watch the daily video. Here's the archives. Go all the way back to 2018. All the best videos that are being hidden from you on YouTube. The frequently asked questions, you just hit the question mark. Hey, what about gravity? Dave talked a little bit about that. What about seasons? What about why the lie? We'll talk about why the lie in a second. And upcoming videos that are being hidden from you. There's the more resources page. We have Biblical Flat Earth, and there's a 24/7 biblical channel. Throw that on instead of CNN, because CNN will just give you cancer. We have books. Right, here's the book I was talking about. John Levy just came out with a new book called The Old World. Amazing, mind-blowing stuff. Books for kids, books for adults. Amazing stuff. A small book, but I love it, called The Navigator Who Crossed the Ice Wall. These are products and stuff that are Flat Earth related. I don't charge for this. If you have something that's Flat Earth related, throw it on here. I will be speaking at Acapulco in February in Acapulco, and a lot of speakers are flat earthers. So it's going to be a pretty interesting time there. So if you're looking for a place to go this winter, you want an amazing retreat, one of the biggest truth conferences, Acapulco is amazing. So there's a little plug for that. The homeschool section, if you want to dive deeper, Austin Whitsitt's Schooling Globers, amazing. This guy, My Lunch Break, amazing old world stuff. And then Jake, I'm the Improbable Dreamer, all sorts of stuff. Crow 777 Radio, if you don't know about that, amazing. And then video search, because I got tired of people saying, Dave, where's the video on so-and-so? Where's this? So if you say, Dave, you did a video on, let's say, Sky Ice. All right, Sky Ice, ICE. And then, bam, up comes the videos on Sky Ice right there. Done. And, otherwise, Google will never feed them to you. So you can find any videos that you want that have been on the app, and even some that aren't on the app. It's got the friend finder. As I said, people are getting, have already had babies because of this. It's the greatest dating app. That's not the number one reason. True friend finder. and for business, like people say, Dave, you're a flat earther. Good luck getting a job. It's going the other way around now, because flat earthers only want to work with other flat earthers. So we're hiring other flat earthers. The tide is going to turn, because the truth, even if it's unpopular, is the winning way to go. You've seen that meme where everyone's, convenient truth, and then, the one guy holding his truth facing the other way. The truth is what matters. So when you find out, Now, these are all the people around me. I can tap on one. I could say, oh, let's see this person. I could look at their profile. I could send them a message. I could do video calls on here. We have, if you're going to the debate in Tennessee, you go to the messaging section and you look for Dean Odell. Let me just make this a little bigger, right? Whoops, that's not it. Here we go. Dean Odell debate. And there's a group in here. And then you can also do video calls on there. I've jumped on like video calls. Here, let me show you real quick. I'm going to hit the video call. First time ever in this group. Let's see if anybody jumps on. So now I've ruined my illusion. Now that you can see that I'm not really where you think I am. And then other people will randomly jump on here and you have like amazing conversations. The app is $3, one-time charge. Now, to use the messaging and a few of the higher end features, you have to pay a subscription. It's $11 a year, but I guess nobody's jumping on right now, which is okay. Usually just takes a minute. I don't want to waste any more time. It's $11 a year to have everything unlocked on the app, but you don't even need it unlocked. The $3 will turn you into a flat earther. And then when you realize that your whole life has changed, you're going to want the other stuff. Anyway, but if you don't want to pay, you can just go up here to the referral section and you can create your custom referral code right here. Use the pencil. Mine is DITRH. LT's is LT. So if you download the app, it's going to say, do you have a referral code? Write in LT. And then he'll be on there. And then you can see people will just keep track of the referrals. It's kind of fun. And sometimes I do giveaways and stuff to people on the referrals on the leaderboard. So I think I covered most of it. If you go to profiles, it's kind of just like Facebook, where you have a profile and you can put if you're looking for a job, if you have a job, all sorts of stuff. You can search for other people. You can be friends with people. You can post stuff. And soon we're going to be adding more and more stuff. Soon I'll be able to go, hey, you know what? I want to move to Florida. So I can search in Florida real estate broker, and I'll find the flat earth real estate brokers in Florida that I want to deal with rather than a globalist.
Oh, yeah. I need to get on that right now.
Yeah. And you're able to search by name or by keywords. And then people are adding in keywords in their description and their about me section. So then you search for them and bam, you find the people that you want to work with. Sometimes like I'm in another town or somewhere and I was like, I want to go get some food. I'll go on the friend finder and I'll zoom in around me and I'm like, look, there's 2 flat earthers in this pizza restaurant or whatever. Flat earth isn't a pizza restaurant. That's funny. And so then I'll go in and I'll message them. I'm like, hey, I'm sitting here at the corner of the bar or whatever. And it's so much fun to meet people in real life. So the app does a ton. You'll check it out and it'll blow your mind.
Man, that is so
How's
good.
that? Oh, wait, one other thing. The images section. So you're talking to somebody and you're like you're talking and say, you really think we didn't go to the moon? So you say, all right, let me just type in LEM, the LEM. Bam, there are all the pictures of the LEM. And you could say, you think that we actually went to the moon in this thing, right? Made out of paper mache and tape. Look at this. This is ridiculous. And this is remember Ocean Gate, right? We have Ocean Gate. Out of nowhere, structural engineers from all across the world are telling us what happened to this. Okay? Like dozens and dozens of them. 50 years later, not one of them has touched this. Not one. Because you can't. Because this is a homeless tweaker shelter. So images at your fingertips when you're trying to what we call flat smack somebody. Everything is there. There's the thousands of images, and we're just adding more and more. But everything you can find, the best way to get the app is go to my website. If you're on iPhone, you can just search in Flat Earth; it'll come up. But on Google, they already have. There was some anti-flat earthers that created another app, same name, and they tried to copy everything I did. They did a horrible job. So if you accidentally buy their app, make sure you leave them a review of what you think. But if you go to flatearthdave.com, all the links are there. All my social media is there. All my websites, well, it's only one website. My TikToks, YouTubes, interviews, everything's there. And of course the app. And if you don't want to get the app, there's the crash course on my website. Go there and turn off Netflix for a week and watch those videos, and you'll see.
I love it. You've been doing this for a long time, Dave, and I just really appreciate you. I know many are going to appreciate this today. They've been asking for it for a long time. And again, just appreciate your service, and you're just going nonstop. It just seems like your energy level is always at peaking all the time in every video that I've seen. And man, I just can't thank you enough. I hope you're getting enough people out there just thanking you for your work and your efforts.
There's a lot of people send me really nice notes, and I could see the difference that it's making. And I believe that depression, which leads to other problems, which compound the depression, is because your soul knows the truth of this world, and your mind is stuck in the television programming and the indoctrination camp programming, and there's no communication. And when your soul is trying to tell you, look over here, understand this, and you're not, that's where depression comes from. Because I've seen people depressed, seen people with drug problems, and they discover flat earth and they snap out of it. They literally come out of their shell and they're like, wow, I've never been happier. And we're in this crazy world of insanity. Best time to be alive. It's amazing. Right. It's amazing. And the number one last thing, the number one argument is, hey, Dave, why are you talking about flat earth with all the other insanity going on in the world? And is because if you don't know where you are, if you're playing on their fake world, they created a fake world where you are the straw man, right? And you get into all of that. They can't have that if you're connected to the creator and you're living with nature, in harmony with nature. They hate nature. They're literally trying to block us off from nature, pack us in cities, make us not believe in God, and live in their fake straw man world with their fake money, with their fake map, with their fake everything. And that's the why. The why is amazing. Yep. The app is worth it alone for the why the lie section.
That's right. You bring up a great point as we go through all of this day in and day out, in their lies, in the way that they use the media and more to destroy us, the institutions, the schooling system. It's just all garbage. And I think the fact that we're all starting to wake up and it's freaking them out. That's why they're trying to figure out a way to turn off the internet and also control us. Glenn Beck had a message where he showed that the Biden fake administration putting out word that they're going to have full control over the internet and everything that's said and done there. So their fear tactics are out there. They're trying to figure out how to stop us. And I think a big part of it is this. They're tired of their lies being exposed, and they just need to get rid of us, basically, in a sense.
I was on Glenn Beck's network on Pat Gray's morning show.
Good.
Blew those guys away, blew their minds. And they're like, oh my God, right? So they got it. And then a couple weeks later, Glenn Beck had like the oldest astronaut alive on and did this like Glenn Beck style formal interview. And the globe is like, look at that. What do you think now, Flat Earth? I listened to it. It's literally an old man telling stories that have zero evidence of ever happening.
Right.
Zero evidence.
That's right. Yep.
Zero.
It reminds me when you brought up about the depression and the soul and how we know that there's something out there, there's the truth, and they're lying to us. It reminds me of this final verse that we'll close on, 1 Samuel 2:8. He raiseth up the poor out of the dust, lifteth up the beggar from the dunghill, to set them among princes, and to make them inherit the throne of glory. For the pillars of the earth are the Lord's. We're on a pillar. And he hath set the world upon them. And I think that's a good one to close on today. Hopefully we'll have you back and just discuss a lot. Maybe we probably covered 5% of everything that you've got.
Oh, the rabbit hole's endless. On the app, here are all my interviews. So I encourage people to just watch more of my interviews right here. There's tons of them. You can find it on my website also, latest interviews banner. And anybody that has a podcast, knows of a podcast that needs to have this discussion, is willing to have this discussion, hit me up on my website, flatearthdave.com, book Flat Earth Dave, start the conversation there, and we'll get you scheduled. So anyone that wants to have an honest conversation, as you did, LT, that's what I'm here for. I want to reach new people, and once you unplug from the matrix, from the globe lie matrix, everything changes and you never go back. Flat earthers have 0% attrition. Nobody becomes a flat earther and goes back to the globe. Nobody. You're muted.
And I just wanted to lift you up in prayer real quick, if I can. So we
Please.
close. Heavenly Father, thank you so much for Dave, all of the work that he's doing. We ask for continued protection over his life, these future events that he's involved in, especially this big debate that's coming up, where many people will be gathering to hear information, especially on a biblical mindset. We just know that you're using him at this time on the earth. It's a great time to be alive. We're all understanding more and more how you're using Dave to just break the depression that many people have, not understanding where we live and how this is all playing out with the great psyop that they're putting on us. We thank you again for him. And we, again, for protection of his family, protection of all of those around him, every second of every day. In the name of Jesus Christ, I pray. Amen and amen.
Amen.
So thanks again, Dave. Hoping to have you back again. Man, this is absolutely amazing. And just God bless you.
Thank you so much.
All right. This is LT with And We Know, signing out.
For nothing is secret that shall not be made manifest, neither anything hid that shall not be known and come abroad.
Until your wife and children, I'll be sailing with you. It's gonna rain. Better get on board. It's gonna rain.
I invite you to join me and the And We Know family on a cruise to Majestic, Alaska, August 11th through the 18th, 2024. We will chart our adventure aboard the luxurious Holland America's Westernum, cruising us to historic Alaskan ports like Juneau and Ketchikan. Destinations renowned for their scenery, teeming with forest and wildlife, the freshest caught salmon, and other delicious cuisine, and known for the locals' family charm. The Isaacs are coming too, and we can't wait to sing worship and patriotic songs by this renowned award-winning group. We'll also enjoy powerful biblical messages and share life stories with my family and me. Listen in on a live podcast recording and have Q&A time and interviews with special guests. So visit andweknow.com and book your trip with LT and the family today.